Okay, we have how many staff members here? We need to make more copies when we have people that are here.
Okay.
Can we have some put on the table? And can the attorney, well, first of all, let me just say thank you to all those who came out this evening. We appreciate your opinions, we hear your frustrations, and now we'll have an opportunity to deliberate and decide how it is that we want to move forward. I know that David's brother Mark called me this week and brought to my attention something about the ordinance that I hadn't thought about. When it was first thinking about it, I wasn't thinking about the entire lot of Holy Name Hospital being included in the ordinance, and since that time I've talked to the deputy mayor about it, and that's something that we do want to change, because our intent was not to put retail on the back end of the hospital. So you can rest assured that that will be amended. But just to put things in context, I'm going to have the attorney just give an overview of this ordinance, and specifically the four-story. Is that something that was there already, or was that included?
No, 4 stories is new.
Is new.
On that. Four stories is new, as is the overlay zone for retail use. Let me address some of the questions that were raised. The letter, the reason for the delay between the date of the letter and the mailing of the letter cannot take place until the planning board has rendered its opinion concerning this ordinance. The planning board rendered its decision on May 25th. That's why the letter is dated the way the letter is dated. As far as meeting the technical legal requirements of notice, it's our opinion that it has been done properly, the advertisements have been done properly, etc. The ordinance itself, 192015, outlines the overlay zone, which runs from south of Route 4 to Lindbergh Avenue. I'm sorry, I don't know the streets in between. But if you also look at Resolution P, Resolution P is the reason set forth for the adoption of the ordinance. It sets forth what the current uses are. The underlying, in Section 4, the underlying zone is predominantly the B2 Business Office District. Permitted uses, Should I continue? Pardon me?
Jamie, can you have copies made?
We've got it, we still don't know what you're saying.
Okay. Can we just have order? Can we just please have the attorney finish explaining Resolution P? Stan, you need to speak into the mic.
Item number 4 outlines what uses are currently permitted in the zone. They include medical and dental clinics, as well as other uses such as offices, financial institution and business schools, funeral homes, municipal, county, state, and federal buildings. Conditional uses include nursing homes, as well as residential, multifamily, and single-family attached dwellings. This ordinance adds to it the allowing retail use in the zone. That's the ordinance.
The MX, I'm sorry, didn't we also do an overlay zone with the MX zone in that area?
That's include. I outlined the uses that are permitted.
And the MX zone doesn't have any retail?
No. Not in this zone now. Not south of Route 4.
Councilman Hamaduddin.
Look, I am very sorry that everybody came out here for this miscommunication right now. I think that the crux of this ordinance is here because, you know, if you have a bank on Teaneck Road, you can't have a hair salon on Teaneck Road without getting a variance. In the last time we had this hearing, and we did listen and we changed it, we said that we were going to go back to the drawing board. I don't know where 40 feet came into it. But that being said, I think that, you know, to the idea that we don't listen to the public. I mean, we've been talking about billboards, and people are trying to mix things together for like 3 years. Just like this issue, we're going to listen to you. I'm going to make a motion to move ordinance number 232015, 242015, and 252015 without moving ordinance number 19, which is the one that affects you. So we're going to go back to the drawing board and the back subcommittee to make sure that this four-story issue is not going to happen. We're also going to make sure that what I intended when I put this forward, to make sure that retail space comes in, and that just so that people don't have to go to get variances on Teaneck Road happens. So we do listen to you. We apologize for the miscommunication and why this was written with 4 stories. I don't know where that came from. I don't remember that ever being in any public discussion that we had at the last hearing. So that's a motion on.
I'll second that.
That's, yeah, and I just asked that we table 19-2015 and move it back to the zoning subcommittee.
my motion.
Oh, you didn't table it.
So you're making a motion to table?
Yeah, we table it and refer it back to the zoning subcommittee.
second?
We need to take a roll call.
Take a roll.
Councilmember Castle?
Yes.
Councilmember Hamidine?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz?
Yes.
Councilmember Pruitt? Yes. Councilmember Schwartz?
Yes.
Councilmember Song?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, and I just want to just state for record, and I'm sure that my council colleagues would agree with this, while 10 days may be the minimum days to notify the public of a hearing, that is not our intent. We want to give the public as much time and information prior to making any decisions that affect them. If we have the information 2 months prior to the hearing, then the information should be sent out at that time and not held for any reason. So moving forward, the goal is to give the public as much information as early as possible.
Madam Mayor, just for clarification, so that the zoning subcommittee, will discuss it tomorrow. We want to make sure that we rewrite this ordinance, that it removes that 4-story feature that's in there, if it's not there currently, right? Is that the direction the council is
Yes,
giving me?
what's the limit currently, not to change it?
So
Not to
keep
change
the
it.
current limit, and you want to add retail, but it must be that is delineated that the hair salons are on Teaneck Road and not on, if the property or the block and lot is facing Grange, et cetera, they can't put it on facing Granger, right?
I would recommend that we,
Subcommittee will give us direction.
yeah.
No, but I just want to make sure.
I would recommend that we outline the lot and block numbers for Holy Name Hospital specifically, whether it be feet, do it by feet, or the actual lot numbers, but certainly not to affect Grange.
That's something the subcommittee will have to make a recommendation.
No, we need it on.
I, for one, am actually thankful for the public for coming out. I'm not sorry that we had this hearing. Clearly, from some of the deliberations or the conversations that we are now having as a council, some of these things were news to us as well. There were some things that we weren't aware of. Using one of the dental offices on Teaneck Road that's across from Holy Name for my children, I know that parking is constantly a problem. So I would ask that the zoning subcommittee consider parking as you go back and redeliberate this particular ordinance. But at the same time, I also want to echo the mayor's sentiments that we should not be operating by the minimum standard of communication. We should be creating a standard that's head and shoulders above that minimum standard so that residents do have ample opportunity to come out and communicate with their elected officials. The other aspect, I just want to know, rather than casting this wide net, and I understand the points that Councilman Hamidine brought up about having 2 different types of businesses and needing variances, but what are the projects that are dependent upon rezoning to make this this retail overlay? I mean, because obviously I can think of 2 personally, but are there any other projects aside from, let's say, 1500 or?
This is the other side of Teaneck Road.
Okay, then I will defer to our attorney on that then, because I just want to know what projects are essentially in the, if you could give me a chance to finish, I didn't interrupt you. What projects are essentially in the hopper that would require us to do a blanket retail overlay?
I don't believe, well, I can't speak, I don't believe that there's anything in the hopper. It's to encourage business.
There's
Yeah.
nothing on the drawing boards
Yeah.
concerning overlay zones. This was the last one that you were considering.
You're finished, Councilman
I am.
Councilman Pruitt, and then some.
Yeah, I think that this ordinance was to allow the possibility. There's no one out there that has entered into the idea of building anything. Okay, so as we make the corrections, there's no, when we pass this ordinance, however which way it gets fixed, there's no developer that is out there waiting for us to pass it so they can go and build this stuff on Teaneck Road. Nobody is interested in that property at the moment.
Councilman Son.
I had a chance to spend a few nights in the most expensive hotel here in Teaneck, Holy Name Medical Center, where I believe my insurance company paid several $1,000s a night. I had an opportunity to look outside the windows, a beautiful view. I could see some of the stores on Teaneck Road. I could see a nail salon across the street from the hospital, and it would be wonderful for our township to be able to bring in some ancillary business from the hospital, which by definition is not bringing us any tax revenue. But I also recognize that behind those stores are homes. Most of those properties, virtually all of those properties, are 100 feet deep. There is not a lot of space, there is not a lot of room to put in a four-story building along that side. I also had an opportunity to look at the backside of the hospital, to look towards Grange, the other streets behind there, and to see the continuing encroachment of the hospital on the residential community and those residents who live behind there. I'm always concerned when we are changing the deal. If you lived here in Teaneck and you believe that there could be a two-story building, you knew that when you moved in. But if we're changing the deal, we need to put a lot of thought into this. And I think we've had inadequate discussion here. We've had inadequate details for the council and for the public, and we've had inadequate public involvement in making this decision. Instead of going back to the zoning subcommittee and just saying, let's make a couple of changes and then throw it up on the wall and see if it sticks, let's go through a process where we actually look at the details, have a map, know what the blocks and lots are, have the residents involved, get that input, and make an appropriate decision as to how we can bring in appropriate revenue that respects the character of our community and the relationship that each of our residents have with our community.